Here in India live more than half of all the remaining Asian elephants, 27,000 animals now existing on just a fraction of their original range. And new numbers suggest that their habitat will be reduced another 40% in the coming decades due to global warming. Adult Asian elephants are somewhat smaller than their African counterparts, averaging 8 to 9 feet or 2.7 meters at the shoulder, weighing approximately 8,000 pounds or 3,600 kilos. For centuries, Indian people have enjoyed a peaceful, respectful relationship with elephants. But this has begun to change.
I think there are two aspects as to why people don't associate elephants with danger. One is the elephant god, Ganesha, who is a very benevolent soul who sort of blesses people. And also the circus elephants, which are cute and cuddly. And so people don't understand that elephants can be really dangerous when they get close to them.
When thinking of elephants, most people's minds drift to Africa, where the great herds roam the plains of the Serengeti, and they can be viewed from the comfort and the safety of a safari vehicle. Here in the forests of South and Southeast Asia lives a different species of elephant, slightly smaller, rarer, more secretive, and more aggressive. As human population size increases, so the amount of habitat available to the elephants decreases, inevitably leading to conflict. And nowhere is this conflict more pronounced or more deadly than in India, where around 400 people are killed every single year by elephants. I've come to West Bengal in northeastern India to learn how different communities manage the complex coexistence with the largest animal in all of Asia, the elephant.
I begin my journey on Holy Day in Kolkata, capital of West Bengal, and an old colonial city of the British East India Company.
The place is superb, but we're thronging with people, and that's the issue. We've got more and more and more people filling up the area where the elephants used to live, and they're having to find a way of navigating through masses and masses of people, loads of communities, between their forest patches.
Before I head southwest to Elephant Country, a local cabbie takes me to see some of the last revelers on this Holy Day festival of colours.
It's holiday in Kolkata, and we have just been invited further down. Seems a very generous offer.
I decline the offer to join this party and keep my eyes fixed on the prize. Finding the elephants and meeting fellow researcher Arithro Kashetri in the city of Jagram, some 4 hours away by car. It's my first opportunity to get used to the unique Indian style of driving. And roads which seem to have no individual lanes or traffic lights in general.
West Bengal has among the highest human-elephant conflict anywhere on Earth. And in West Bengal alone in 2017, 70 people were killed. It's absolutely insane. In return, almost no elephants are killed on purpose. They basically don't seem to have reprisal killings. They found another way of dealing with them. They simply pass them on between the communities. So one community will kind of deal with the problem for a week or so, and then they get tired of having elephants there, eating all their crops, smashing their houses up. And then they get together a gang of people that scare them over towards the next community. They have it for a week, and then they scare it to the next community. And it carries on like that, so these elephants essentially being chased throughout the landscape in perpetuity. Arithro.
Hi, Niall.
How are you doing? Yeah, great to meet you.
Finally, yes.
What's the plan for the week?
Yeah, there are some elephants around, so hopefully we'll get to see them for the next few days.
Brilliant, yeah. If you could show me how the communities are moving them from one area to the next, that would be brilliant.
Absolutely, I think we can see them for the next few days, yeah.
Perfect, well, let's saddle up and let's get on the road.
Yeah.
Arithro and I head off to a village that is concerned about a group of wild elephants near their community. They've asked the government forest service to help them in moving the herd.
That kind of traditional knowledge about elephant behavior is sort of slowly eroding here with the youth and the newer people. who don't associate themselves with the forest so much.
So I'm here with the range officer from the forestry department, and the department have hired a whole load of local people to try and act, I suppose, as a bit of a mob to scare away the elephants. Because last night there was a family of 11 elephants near here coming into the villages that had been chased out until 4 in the morning by the range officer here. And so he's hired some helping hands, and they're making these torches, which are going to be soaked in kerosene, and hopefully will burn and scare the elephants, push them back in towards the forest.
Member of Forest Protection Committee.
The Forest Protection Committee.
Member.
These guys are members of the Forest Protection Committee.
Hula Party.
Okay.
Eh.
The Forest Department have an almost impossible task in trying to manage elephants in a landscape that's dominated by people, because the communities believe that the elephants are almost the property of the Forest Department, and so if an elephant causes damage to a community, the Forest Department get blamed. So the Forest Department have had to come up with ways of collaborating with the communities so that there's still this level of toleration of elephants in that landscape, and they're doing a commendable job. It's quite a dangerous job for these guys, because the elephants are going to get aggravated.
It's dangerous for the people as well as for the elephants.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As a wildlife researcher, Arithro is especially concerned with the activities here. His area of study is to reduce conflict and fatalities among people and elephants. So last night they had these 11 elephants come by.
Yeah, they were up till 4 a.m. apparently.
It is ready.
Okay, ready to go. Yeah.
And now we're off to find the elephants. Something I have to admit I have mixed feelings about. And given my experience with wild elephants, a serious sense of impending danger. Soon enough, we discover the stories about local aggressive elephants are no exaggeration.
No, that's coming. Come on. Go. Now, coming right now. Come on.
I'm in West Bengal, India, observing government officials and local villagers who are driving wild elephants away from their community. So I'm with the hula party, and we're going to find these elephants. Family of 11 elephants that's been marauding through the villages last night. They were chased from village to village till 4 in the morning. Posted someone to find where they are and wait and watch. And now I'm here with about 40 men. Go try find them, wait till dark, and then scare them off. Right on the edge. You'd expect them to put young ones on the edge of the herd to kind of act as sentries. This one's, yeah, it's definitely looking at us. Not challenging. There seems to be a large female and her offspring, a young bull. Not an ideal situation, but the fear is this pair and the other 9 in the herd could lay waste to the farmers' crops and perhaps their homes. Now he's looking. Here it comes. Now that's coming. Come on. Go. Now it's coming right. Come on. Yeah, I smell the kerosene. She's moving off that way. Yeah, it's nuts. So you saw the first little one come up, and it kind of gave us a little mock charge and raised its tongue and panicked and ran the other way. And then its mum came to say, you don't mess with my little, and she charged at us all. And everyone just went bowling the other direction. Everyone fled. Cameramen that way. You. Well done. Director that way. And then I was left with one of the guys with the torch just up there, and she calmed down a bit. Now she's just starting to back off. So Arithro reckons that she can smell the kerosene now, and she doesn't like that, so she's moving away. But it's madness. The village is all abuzz about the elephants, and we have to reconvene to see what's next.
So
What's the plan of action, Arithra?
currently we are at the tri-junction of 3 states, West Bengal, Jharkhand and Odisha. So we are in the West Bengal section now. And now we are trying to ascertain where the elephants are moving, which way, either towards Jharkhand or Odisha.
Would that potentially go out of his jurisdiction into a different jurisdiction?
Definitely. If it's across the state borders, it
This
goes
border.
to...
Yeah, just here.
Is there border? Subordinate.
If they're going towards Jharkhand, they have to cross a river where we might see them at night. So what we'll do is we'll drive on the main road. Okay. Try and intercept if they move.
Are there still some of the local guys following, do you think, or have they all pulled back now?
They've all pulled back now.
Okay.
The pair of elephants has gone deeper into the bush, and we're circling around to find the rest.
So we'll go to the place where the elephants were sighted last, and then hopefully we'll pick up a trail from there.
Nice fresh tracks.
Maybe a couple of hours old.
Yeah, these are good. Okay. So what did you hear from the guys?
So the elephants are definitely nearby. We've put few guys up on the trees also to keep a lookout.
They'll be resting now. It's 5 o'clock in the evening.
They'll be just moving now, going to the watering hole, drinking some water, and then they'll be ready to step out.
Look at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's nice. See the.
You can also smell.
But despite finding footprints, we can't locate the elusive elephants. Even as we go into nightfall and crowds with lights begin to gather, the herd remains brilliant at avoiding people. The next day, I make a brief stop to the district forest officer to get some background on the elephant crisis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah,
I'm Niall.
How are
Lovely to
you?
meet you. Very well, thank you. Very well. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Wow, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure is mine.
Great stuff. So we'd love to know as much as you do as possible about the movements of the elephants around here and how they're interacting with the people in the communities.
Yeah, there are around close to 150 elephants in the entire landscape, which part of it lies in state of Jharkhand and Odisha also. So their migration is a seasonal based. So like maybe somewhere in 1980s, when the movement of elephants started in this area.
And previously, historically, the elephants weren't here at all?
Very, very limited movement of elephants. And if you can see, all these areas are very fragmented forest.
Yeah, very much
and
so.
these are all not very suitable elephant habitats also. So elephants are basically dependent on agriculture crops.
So that's what's brought them in, all the
Yeah.
agriculture.
That's where it leads to conflicts.
With fresh information about the location of elephants, I head up to a local village to meet Ayan, a survivor of an elephant attack.
যাটা মানলো ও এইখানে দাঁড়িয়ে ছিল আর হাতিটা ওইখানে ছিল আর আমরা ওই পাশে হাতিটা দেখলাম নিয়ে এলাম এনে করে ওই দিক থেকে ওই দিকে গেলাম
So what he's saying that they were walking along this trail, collecting the casuarina fruit. And then one guy who was leading them did not notice the elephant standing right here.
Here?
Yeah, he was
God.
busy plucking fruits. So the ones behind alerted this guy, and they ran back. But this guy ran towards that side, and the elephant chased him, pinned him to the ground, and he died.
With it pushed him with his trunk or with the front of his head?
So apparently the guy was picked up with his trunk,
Picked him up with his
and
trunk.
all his ribs were broken. He survived for half an hour, but by the time he could be taken to the hospital, he passed on.
Sometimes attacks happen because of elephants being
Yeah.
aggressive, but sometimes it's because people are being aggressive to the elephants.
Yeah, it also happens. Like many times accidents do happen when people encounter elephants unknowingly. Like they are going into the forest area for collection of firewood or basic essentials, and they encounter elephant. And many times it does happen. People become overly aggressive towards the elephants. Maybe they throw stones or sometimes they're in intoxicated condition. They go, even people go to take selfies also. We have such cases also.
Tomorrow, we get a tip from a forest officer that gets us very close to a herd of elephants on the verge of entering a village. In West Bengal, we're following up on a herd of wild elephants located near a village.
So we've got elephants about 200 meters away in the forest. Aretha and I are going in to check out their temperament. We know that these are the elephants that have been in and around the community for the last few days. They'll probably be a bit aggravated. So they've been going to and from, being chased out. So let's see how they are. It's always exciting being on foot with elephants because they're incredibly unpredictable, they're remarkably stealthy, and they often respond with extreme violence. So I've spent cumulatively months and months and months on foot with elephants in deep forest, and every time you spot one, the hairs on the back of your neck rise because you don't know what's going to happen. You have to be so careful. Because the young male's looking a bit agitated. It's all right.
That female is giving us a warning to stay away. These elephants are more on edge here due to their constant interaction with humans, and we want to maintain a respectful distance.
They are now, but yeah, she got aggravated very quickly, seemingly out of nothing. Yeah, nice one. We have at least 3 elephants just there. One I can see has tusks. One's much smaller, and the other one just charged at us. They were just looking relaxed, just like throwing dust on their heads, eating, and then something changed and just came through the bushes at us, stopped, came again, smashed down a tree. And now they're there. The tusker, it's only small tusks, but young male, he's looking straight at us.
Always on the move, elephants here have been driven into a state of constant aggression, threatening or killing any people in their way. In one instance, an angry elephant dismembered and ate its victims.
The baby is between them. You always keep the babies in between. That's protective behavior.
But there are solutions, and Erythro believes teaching people safety protocols and introducing elephant corridors through the agricultural land can make a difference.
Elephants are designed by default to move across large distances because they have high ecological requirements of food. An elephant can eat up to 180 to 200 kg of wild fodder per day.
He and others believe conflict can be reduced by allowing elephants to pass between the fragmented forests via designated safe zones, natural corridors such as tea plantations, where elephants could travel without interference.
So you can see it's walked all the way along here, and it can't go down. Which is lucky for us, because if she comes again, that's where we'll need to go. That's a decent size. It's the big female. There's a sub-adult male, the calf, and then the female that got a bit aggravated by our presence earlier. So the elephants have visibly relaxed, which is a good thing because 15 minutes ago the female charged at us, mock charged us. I was feeling, obviously your heart rate goes when that happens, but relatively secure because we're on a little rise with a big trench just behind us. And you can see elephant footprints all along here. The crazy thing is the nearest village is about 100 meters, maybe 150 meters that way. Apparently these elephants were here on Saturday, and now they came back last night. And the forest officer reckons that tonight they're probably going to head for the village.
I decide to check out the community who's feeling the impact of these elephants.
Paddy plantations, paddy fields.
And this is quite thick sal as well. Brilliant for elephants to be hiding in.
Yes. Even if they're 50 meters inside, you won't be able to see them.
I'm staggered how an animal of that size can just disappear.
And they can be absolutely still, making no sound at all.
They just pass through like the wind. It's extraordinary. This is an amazing festival. Aretha was saying once a year there's a big festival to celebrate the god of all gods for the tribal people, and we happen to have turned up on the day that they're celebrating this, which is a complete coincidence and amazing. Yeah, namaste to you all. Fabulous.
So basically, they say we are staying in the forest, so obviously elephants will keep coming.
Okay.
It's not that we are staying in some town that we can afford to be aggressive towards them.
It's phenomenal that, again, there's just a complete acceptance that this is our environment and the elephant's environment, and we just coexist. It's perfect.
365 days.
ঢুকে যেতে পারে আমরা কেউ খবর পাইনি বাড়ি গাড়ি ভেঙে চলে যায়
They come very slyly, access stored food, and then go back again.
So they sneak in, steal the food, and off they go.
Especially the loners.
At the moment, we know that there's 3 elephants 5 minutes away.
They know.
So would they have someone on a sentry post just to monitor if the elephants come in, or how would they respond?
Not really. They have a good communication network. So if somebody sees an elephant moving this side, they would, give them a call, alert them that elephants are going towards your village. So be on a lookout.
As nightfall approaches, the hula torches appear, and people here know what they must do to protect their lives and crops.
Aretha received a phone call to say that the elephants are on their way towards here, and the hula party have responded instantly. They've ratcheted it up a notch. You can see they're all ready to go. Many people would prefer that elephants were allowed to just go about their own business, but we have to understand that people's lives and their livelihoods are at stake. It's at least not a lethal way of doing things. Earlier today, the elephants were just in there, and we saw 3 of them, so the mother, the young, and the tusker, and obviously they weren't so happy about our presence, so we know they're slightly agitated. Now, these guys are obviously wanting to move them on, get them back into the forest if they start coming out near the communities. Have they updated you what's happening?
The elephants are nearby. We're just waiting, standing by.
You can see the 2 flaming hulas there, at least 2. Yeah, 3, and now there's a bunch of head torches as well, as the villagers are driving the elephants away from the community, which is over there, back towards the forest on this side. And a couple of guys just shouted, "Hati, hati," which means they think they've seen the elephants. Once again, the elephants outran the hula party, and me. The men did not have to get too close, but it's safe to say tonight, across West Bengal, in dozens of districts, men like these are out in the jungles and in the fields, driving herds away from their villages and crops. As hungry elephants can easily destroy a family's entire year's earnings in one night.
The hula party have returned. We've got a couple of the hula guys here, and they're almost preternaturally calm, which is very unusual. It's obviously the end of the night, and you can tell because the atmosphere has just completely changed. Anything up until 10-15 minutes ago, there was just a charged atmosphere, energy around, and then suddenly just a hush has fallen across the whole crowd, which is very odd, especially given what these people are normally like.
Yeah, but the action is over.
Yeah.
The elephants broke cover. They passed from one forest to the other to the paddy field.
Yeah.
So they were guided when they were moving by the hula parties. And now they're safely in the other forest, so hopefully they won't be coming out anymore.
Great. So what will these guys do now? They'll just go home, go to bed,
They'll go home, go to bed, yeah, done for the night.
and ready for the next morning.
Ready for the next morning.
Yeah.
Next, investigating elephant conflicts, I travel to the dense jungles of the north and encounter some fantastic wildlife. And have some close encounters I didn't see coming. I'm in India, traveling from Jagram district of West Bengal into the tea planting region of the Doors, a thick jungle floodplain just under the Himalayas. I want to see how the relationship between people and elephants differs up here from the dry south. I begin at the Chapramari Wildlife Sanctuary.
I've come up to the northern part of West Bengal, right on the border with Nepal and Bhutan. And the first thing that stands out is that there's just so much forest. Amazing, large, continuous patches of habitat can act as a refuge for the elephants here, which actually move from country to country and live in much higher numbers. There's far fewer people up here as well. It's going to be very interesting for me to see how the people here coexist with the elephants and how that differs from down south where I was before. That's a decent-sized waterhole.
Oh yes, elephants come here very regularly because it's very nice and peaceful. Even rhinos and gaur come here on a daily basis.
Really amazing. You can see all those corridors coming in as well. You can see it from miles away.
Yes, they've been created so that we have a nice vantage.
Yeah.
The park insists armed guards escort me down here due to the presence of large aggressive animals like rhino, buffalo or elephants, which could burst out of the brush at any time.
I'm going to set up a couple of camera traps because we've got the waterhole just there and a salt lick here. And these amazing little cleared corridors that the elephants apparently walk down as they're approaching the hole. And it'd be great to try and get some shots on this little camera trap so we can see what they're up to, coming day or night.
Lift it up a little bit, that's it.
Perfect.
There turns out to be plenty of game in the Chapramari Wildlife Sanctuary. But just when the ever-secretive elephants will show up is anyone's guess.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's a herd of 12 gaur, or Indian bison. They've come down to the waterhole for a bit of a drink and a feed. You can see the sun's going down, evening's coming on, and the wildlife starting to come out. We've got them. We had a wild boar just appear about 5 minutes ago as well, and I'm hopeful that the elephants will come out now as the twilight descends and just relax and enjoy a drink.
In the meantime, the spectacular birds of the park provide the entertainment. Among all the natural wonders I found here was a pair of rarely seen or photographed kasa, or yellow-throated martins. They're found throughout Southeast Asia and Northeast India.
And there's no elephants, but there is that absolute behemoth of an Indian one-horned rhino. And just an extraordinary animal, about 5.5, 6 feet high at the shoulder, a couple of tons in weight. And with basically nothing to fear in the forest, except for people who are obviously living in huge numbers just outside. But in here, surrounded by trees, it's basically safe with nothing to fear, and you can just relax, because this is a refuge for rhinos, elephants, and so many more species besides. So we're in what seems to be quite thick forest. And this is a wildlife sanctuary, is that right?
Yeah, we are currently inside the Chapramari Wildlife Sanctuary. It's a very small area of around 10 square kilometers.
Oh, it's tiny. Right.
It is surrounded by small forest patches and they're connected by tea plantations.
You're trying to look at which bits of habitat are most critical for allowing elephants to pass through without causing conflict with people, without causing casualties and damage.
So we use a very interdisciplinary approach to find out critical areas for their persistence and for their movement. And we also use a lot of social science to understand how they're perceived by the local people,
yes,
what kind of damages they face, and what can be done to minimize those kinds of damages.
Aretha wants to take me to see the tea plantations, where there have been recent run-ins with elephants, including damage to a man's home. But we hadn't counted on this.
So we've got a small herd of elephants here. As we came along in the car, 3 or 4 crossed. I only saw the back end of them, so I saw 3, but there might have been another. And then as we drew alongside on the road, a young female charged at us. And I turned to the other side of the road and I could see 2 other elephants there. So she obviously wasn't happy about being separated and gave us quite a warning. The 2 on this side are likely to cross to follow them, because they won't want to be apart. So we're just going to sit and wait, nice and quiet, We pull back about 60, 70 metres, and let's hope they come across.
Arithro and I carefully move forward. We can hear them moving. Then suddenly they appear, and other officials show up to monitor their movements. It's a good-sized herd, with elephants of all ages. No wonder the young charging female didn't like getting separated from them. Just when you think no more are coming, another few catch up with the group. This female seems to have left something behind. In these larger forests, the elephants have more natural vegetation to eat, like vines, jackfruit, and dilenia, known as elephant fruit. But their constant search for food still takes them through human settlements like large tea plantations.
Fantastic. So we knew that they were going to cross because the rest of the herd had crossed earlier. I hadn't realised there were quite so many. That was 7 still left on this side and 3 or 4 that had crossed before. Absolutely wonderful. They took about 30 or 40 minutes to pluck up the courage to cross the road. They were obviously very unhappy about cars, and they waited until there was a bit of space, finally crossed the road. And I don't really notice the big female waited at the back to let the 2 little ones come, and only once they were across did the Chilean go. Brilliant.
Next, I travel to a tea plantation and discover a house smashed by elephants and a spotting tower, while my trail cam gets lucky at the waterhole.
Oh, we got an elephant. Hello, hello.
My trip through northern West Bengal continues, now visiting the tea plantations which elephants pass through, eating as they go, but not consuming the tea leaves themselves. India is one of the largest tea producers in the world, employing more than 2 million people. But these plantations have also displaced large sections of forest that elephants call home.
This is a perfect example of the nature of the landscape here in northern West Bengal, where we've got a forest jutting right up against a tea plantation full of tea pickers. And so the elephants move from these patches of forest using the tea plantations essentially as corridors to get to the next patch of forest. And that inevitably brings them into conflict with the people that are picking and with the people that own these plantations.
We are doing a lot of awareness work in the communities, especially the tea gardens, because we found out a lot of the human casualties were occurring when people are not aware of the correct safety protocols.
This house has been absolutely trashed. What happened?
Yeah, this was about 3-4 months ago. At 9 p.m. at night, 4 people were sleeping inside, and one elephant came through the gate and literally pushed the wall inside.
It's been terrifying.
Yeah, the people panicked. Thankfully, nobody was injured. They all ran away safely. The elephant, after damaging this house, eating the food, went that way.
I decide to get a better view of the situation.
I'm sitting in one of the elephant spotting platforms that's used by the tea plantation workers to spot when elephants come out of the forest, which is just over there, and enter the plantation. And when they do that, of course, they cause a great threat both to property and to people's lives themselves. Workers have been killed by elephants coming into the plantation. It was a perfect way of providing an early warning to anyone working in here that the elephants are moving through.
Back at the sanctuary, I decide to check my trail cams.
Okay, so it's always this delayed gratification moment when you start looking at trail cam footage, having had it out for a few days, see what we've got. Brilliant. Massive family of cow with a little baby, and a wild boar casually trotting through. Cattle egrets following the cow everywhere. What have we got?
There, we got an elephant. Hello, hello. Notch on its left ear. His eyes shine. You can hear them squeaking to each other as well. Elephants are amazingly vocal and they've got a huge vocal range. They use subsonic communication over long distances, but then when they're close to each other, they squeak. Well, that's an absolutely furious elephant, trumpeting in rage and disgust and then headbutting a tree. The cameras are infrared, but I guess not quite far enough into the red zone that they are invisible to the elephants. Let's have a look at that again. So he's obviously seen the infrared, lost his temper, and then just charged the nearest thing and headbutted the tree. And I suppose what that indicates is just how on edge the elephants are. They live in this dense forest, they're surrounded by people who are generally aggressive to them. And their response to being aggravated in some way is to charge. So in this case, trumpeting in presumably fear or anger, and then just charging at the nearest thing and smashing it.
I've got another opportunity to see wild Indian elephants, and it's 2 hours north.
So I've come to the Buxa Tiger Reserve, which is this absolutely extraordinary old deciduous forest in which apparently a very large population of elephants lives. The border with Bhutan is just there, and this group of elephants goes across the border to and from, and I'm hoping they'll be here while I am.
Elephants in Asia are very, very different to their African cousins in that you can't just drive around and see them in the plains. They're hiding deep in the forest and they do not like to be seen. They're very secretive.
So I wasn't the only one amazed when the elephant showed up and got much, much closer than anyone expected. I'm at the Buxa Tiger Reserve in northern India, and much to my surprise, the wild elephants we spotted earlier pop out of the forest at the ranger station. They've come for the salt lick that's been set up here. First, the young ones arrive. And one of them has already found the salt lick. And then the matriarch arrives. She's thrown that dirt on her back to help shield against insects. She's cautious and checking anything that doesn't seem right. First, she carefully steps past our cameras, then changes her mind. Only a 3-foot deep trench separates us from her. She moves ever closer. Then, spotting the ditch, stops and signals her disapproval of us by flinging dirt and stomping her feet. She wants to let us know we're too close to her family. Now the whole family herd lines up for this precious mineral. Salt is beneficial for their muscles and helps them retain water.
It's pretty extraordinary. Elephants, plus tiny, tiny baby.
suckling on the matriarch. It's twilight, sun's gone down. They've come out to feed. Have a bit of salt at the salt lick here. And now off they go into the forest again. They were here for 5 minutes. But that's 5 unbelievable minutes for me. Knowing what issues wild elephants are facing in India, I was thrilled to meet Sonia Jabbar, a tea plantation owner and activist who's finding answers. She's come up with a multi-tiered approach that includes safe elephant corridors, growing edible plants for elephants, and an education program for tea pickers and their children.
So one of the things is that we don't want conflict, right? We don't want violence. We just want to cool this. So earlier when everyone used to come out and then the elephants would attack as well. I mean, they would get really aggressive.
Of course.
So now they've seen the difference. We've created this corridor. So when everyone's cool, and what we say is, look, please enjoy yourself, watch the elephants, but from 400 meters apart, right?
Yeah, safe distance.
So then from a safe distance, exactly. So this is basically the elephants traverse between Tukriya Jhar forest, and then they come through and then they go to Uttamchandra Chat forest, which is on our eastern side.
So the tea plantation is acting as a corridor and a sanctuary,
Absolutely,
safe haven as they go through.
absolutely. And this is what I want to do, is to create a sanctuary for these elephants.
Sonia is also creating respect for elephants and improving safety by working with the next generation of tea pickers, the young children on the plantation.
Okay, तो पहले शुरू करते हैं. Ready? 1, 2, 3. दमक दमक चलती हाथी, अपनी सूंड हिलाती हाथी, नक्सल बारी के वीर बच्चे.
She's encouraging the young tribal kids who grow up here on the tea plantation to have a positive attitude towards wildlife, because apparently the tribal communities, surprisingly, completely lost it. There's a total disconnect between the tribal communities and wildlife, which came as a big surprise to me, and a big surprise to Sonia when she found it out. So she's trying to reignite that bond with wildlife and nature in the children, which is such a great idea. Humans the world over have a strained relationship with wildlife, especially those species which pose a genuine threat to our lives and our livelihoods. Elephants are hugely destructive, but the people of India are finding ways to live alongside them, based on the principle that elephants have a right to be here and that they're a natural and an important part of our landscape. My time here has reminded me of the fact that the world is not ours alone, it is ours to share. And we must start treating it as such. We must set aside and protect refuges for wildlife and corridors to connect them. But we must also support those communities that live near these places. If we are to change the relationship between people and elephants from conflict to coexistence.